Good morning. Welcome to Handmade by Julia Quinn. I'm coming on early this morning to show you a card that I featured in my blog last night. It was featuring these colours: Evening Evergreen, Soft Succulent, which I've used for my stamping, Blushing Bride, and Shaded Spruce. If you have a look on my blog and go to the Colour Inspiration Challenges, you'll see some pretty amazing projects there for you, and this is just one of them, which is my project. And I was inspired by my good friend Lou, who her blog is called With a Bow on Top, and she has done this wonderful curved pop-up card so many beautiful ways. It is just really lovely and fun, and she very generously gave me the measurements and the design, so I've used it for my project for today. Now, as I said, I'm using the Nature's Prints stamp set and also the Fern die, which comes as part of the Sun Prints suite. But most of all, for my card, I've used the Natural Prints dies, and in particular this wreath die. This is the first card I've made using this lovely wreath die. Okay, now I don't know which way to put that for you so that you can see which way. Probably that way is the best way to go. So I'll just get all my bits and pieces for you here. Just pop that there. So I have done all my die cutting beforehand, so you don't have to wait for me to do all that. So I've got all my beautiful little Blushing Bride bits and pieces here for the flowers on my wreath, and couple of little fronds of Shaded Spruce and the Evening Evergreen wreath. Look at that wreath, isn't it beautiful? Absolutely stunning. Hey, so then I have my card base here, which is like a standard postcard size for a normal card. Okay, I have scored it in half. Now I have written down my measurements in metric here. So it's 10.5 by 14 centimetres, which is almost our normal card base size. So I've scored that in half, so I've made it 14 centimetres so that it's easy to score in half and follow all your measurements from there. So that's just the basic card. It's just like that. But then the fun piece is this little bend here on the front, which is the same measurements, 14 in the middle, but I've added a couple extra centimetres on each end for the tab. Okay, and then the rest of the card is basically decoration. There's also another fun pop-up element here, which is 11 centimetres by 5, and it's got 1 centimetre tabs on each side, and this one goes in the opposite direction to create this little fun feature which pops up at the front. Okay, let's start creating. Now, with my pieces that I've already die cut, so there's the greeting there, I have already done the embossing, but I'm just going to add a little bit of ink to them, the Evening Evergreen ink, to bring out the colour. So I'll bring in my stamping mat, pop these. It's very cold here for Queensland. Like, we don't cope with the cold very well. Our houses aren't built for the cold, so I apologise for the rustling of my jacket. But you should feel my hands, they're absolutely freezing. Ugh. And I am in the warmest room in the house. My craft room has the morning sun, which is absolutely magical. Okay, so I've popped a little bit of Soft Succulent on my blending brush there. Just going to add a bit of colour just to bring out the fern detail for you, to show you. Okay, so that's that one, and then these two. Just give it a bit of extra colour. If you know me, you would know that I am a big fan of most greens, so I like to show off the green wherever possible. There we go. Okay, that'll do on there. And while I've got my green ink out, my soft succulent ink, I might just do my stamping here using this lovely fern. I think it's my favourite stamp in this stamp set, apart from the splodge, I guess, because I'm a big fan of splodges. So it's just going to stamp off and create that fern here a couple of times just to give a bit of fill into my wreath. And also I have 2 more panels for the back of my card. I forgot to show you that, where you write your greeting to your recipient. So I'll just put a couple of bit of ferns there as well. So here we go. And there we are. Another little one over there. And while I've got my, oh hang on, and I also put, I've just looked at my card, a couple of the ferns just behind my greeting there. Okay, and while I've got my blending brush here, I just do a little bit of soft succulent around the outside edges just to give that a bit of a lovely soft colour. Okay, and then I think I only need to stamp my greeting in the evening evergreen, and then I'll be finished all my stamping and you'll be able to see how this card is constructed. Okay, I'll take my fern off and pop that back away and pop on my best wishes and happy thoughts. What a great greeting. Use it for so many things. Okay, I'll just stamp that there. And that's that complete. Now it's up to the fun part, the construction of our card. Let's pop that out of the way. Alright, now the first thing I'm going to do before I do anything else is to stick these 2 bits onto the front of my card. Now I'm going to use tear and tape, which is lovely and strong on both of those tabs, and I'll also put tear and tape on these tabs as well, because it's nice and strong and easy to use. Okay, I'll just use my, look at that ink under my fingernail from stamping already today, and it's only 9 o'clock in the morning. Okay, right, I'm going to pop that down the bottom there. 1, 2. Alright, so that's that bit done, and you can see how that creates that lovely little bendy fold to make it stand up to show off. I'm going to stick my 2 panels on the back of my card now, just so that they get them out of the way. That's that bit done. Okay, so now to stick on my, I'll use this seal for this, my embossed panels. And I'm going to very carefully pop that in and cover up the little tab there. There we are. There's one. and then my strip on the front. Okay, and that one butts right at the end, measures exactly there. There we go. And now I get the fun part. Actually, just wonder whether it's easier. I think I placed it on. What I will do before I stick this on, I have punched out 2 little circles. This is a fun technique that Lou showed me. So I'm just going to fold both of those in half, like that, and then put a little bit of seal on the back of each of them on each side of the score line. Okay, with that folded back like that. You don't necessarily need a circle either. You could just use a tab of a rectangle. Okay, put that there on either side of the score line like that. So then when I put seal on this side, I can pop my greeting on and it will stand up when the card folds in like that. Isn't that great? So that you've got this great little element. It's so versatile and so useful for so many occasions. Gives you a floating greeting on it. All right, now I'm just going to set that aside for a minute and make a decision about when I stick that on based on my wreath. So for this one, I'm going to use my glue and pop. I've used my silicone mat here as well to help me so that I don't get glue everywhere. Just going to pop a little bit of, whoops, a bit too much. Pick you up, spread you out. You don't need much of this, whoops, glue. A little bit goes a long way. Okay, so I'm going to stick. Now, which way will I have for the top of my wreath? I think I like that way up the top. So pop one there, and this one will be sort of hidden underneath the bendy detail of the card. So just pop those ones around there and stick them on. Okay, and then I've got all these lovely little blushing bride blossoms that I'm going to randomly put around the wreath. Make sure they're the right side up. Okay, and pop just a little bit of glue on these dudes. That sun's starting to come into my bedroom, into my craft room now, and it's rather magical. The temperature today, now this is cold for Queensland, it's not going to make it above 20 degrees Celsius. I know for all of the southern states in Australia they're laughing their heads off at the Queenslanders, but it's so cold for us. We're such sooks. Okay, I'm going to tuck the back of that behind the wreath so you won't see that. And just sort of stick, whoops, curve that in and around so that's the beauty of the silicone sheet too. I can drop it and don't end up with sticky mess everywhere. As you can tell, I'm not really a big fan of the whole wet glue thing. These ones I'm going to try and stick up a little bit higher so they peek out above the. Now where will I put my last one? Up here somewhere, I think. Rightio. And there is our wreath. It was almost a heart shape, isn't it? Okay, so this is now going to go in behind here, like that. So I'm going to put glue. Oops. Which way are you supposed to go? Going to put glue just on these side pieces here. Where it's going to stick on that pop-up element. Alright. But I think I will put this into the card first so that it gives me some stability when I'm adhering the wreath. Oh, my fingers are not working in the cold. There we go, 1, 2. Okay. Now the important part about this one is that you must line up that score line in the middle here with the score line in the middle there, okay? So it's important that they line up together. And put my flap down underneath. There we go, so then it'll fold like that, okay? Rightio, and then we'll just very carefully tuck this underneath here and stick down those bits that we just put the glue there. Okay, just checking that I've got no wet bits peeking out of glue. And then the last thing I did on my card is a very simple card really. It's the wreath that's carrying it for the whole project, because the rest of it is all just basically very vanilla. But I'm going to put some, now these are the in colour, what are they called? Oh, here it is. In colour opal rounds in Upale Papaya, Fresh Freesia, Polished Pink, Soft Succulent and Evening Evergreen. Can you tell which is my favourite? I think that's mostly because I've made a few of these wreaths and used these lovely opal rounds on the projects. But yes, one there, one over there, and one more down there, I think. There we go. So there's our wreath curved pop-up card. Now if you want more inspiration for this particular fold, you can use exactly the same measurements and the same style and everything. Go to Lou Kitzelman's blog with a bow on top. She has some brilliant ideas for using it. Really marvellous, and she has a fun pocket element as well in it. But there you go. I hope you're inspired. Have a go making your fun curved pop-up card. And as I said, just a basic standard card base, and then your piece for the bottom, just add a little bit more for your tabs, and the rest of it is just fairly basic. Now, if you love fun folds, come back at 10 o'clock. So what's the time now? In about 40 minutes or so. And I'm going to show you how to make this fun theatre fold using the wonderful Paradise Palms collection. See you then. Bye-bye.